Hello and welcome. Today I have a new episode of what I'm watching. This is a reoccurring series here on my channel where I give you 3 different viewing selections across different streaming services. Today I do have 3 new selections for you, so let's jump right in. First, we're going to start on Netflix with the series The First Wives Club. This series revolves around 3 women trying to juggle life between their families, their careers, and their relationships. This is one of those shows where it shows you that everyone has problems, but our friends are the ones who help us get through the hard times. It also shows us that relationships aren't always what they seem. Sometimes we get a little too comfortable, a little too cozy. I am currently on season 2 of this series and I do look forward to seeing more. Let's go over to Max for our second series, which is the show The Gilded Age. This is a time period piece set in New York in the 1800s. It kind of brings about those society standards, especially the old money versus the new money, and how they don't really come together even though they are that 1% of the time. The costumes in this show are magnificent. I really enjoy seeing the costumes of Mrs. Russell. As I mentioned, this show does touch on how the old money versus the new money kind of clashed, and I can see both perspectives. I really like the character of Mrs. Russell, but I can see where the character of Mrs. Van Ryan comes from. They both bring interesting dynamics, and I just kind of like the way they clash a little bit. They don't always see eye to eye, they don't agree, but I love to see that tension between them. There are currently 2 seasons of this show. I believe the second season did just wrap its finale. I do look forward to seeing many more seasons from this show. I am rooting for Marion and Larry. I don't want to give too much away, but so far I'm liking Larry with Marion. Our third selection will take us back to Netflix with this series, My Life with the Walter Boys. Any Suits fans out there? I know you are. Donna's back. So the bottom line of this series is that this young teenage girl ends up going to live with the family of one of her mother's friends, and she is immediately hit with culture shock. You go from high city life of New York to small farm town life of Oklahoma. This series does close off on a major cliffhanger. I'm looking forward to season 2. I will say I've seen a little bit of hate for this show, but I mean, for what it is, I quite enjoyed it, and again, I do want to see more. Those are my selections for this episode of what I'm watching. If you are interested in seeing more, then go ahead and click here on the screen, either on the playlist or the previous episode.